This video is brought to you by expressvpn.com/Dudey. Hey guys, how's it going? Dudey here. I'm back with another video. Today's video is a little bit different because you guys are involved. So basically, Ryan Palmer is a deep sea diver, right? And he has sent me 3 scary stories, either personal or from his colleagues, that they have experienced whilst deep sea diving. So this sets a new precedent for the channel, and what I mean by that is you guys can email me in your ghost stories, your scary, anything paranormal, some near-death experiences, some experiences with aliens, anything like that. Please feel free to email them in dudeyrhino@gmail.com. So without further ado, I'm going to get into this video. Now this one really does interest me because, as you guys know, I've discussed many times, the ocean terrifies me, right? It goes to depths where we cannot go. There are things down there that we don't know or understand. I think it's something crazy like 85% of the ocean is undiscovered. So the fact that Ryan goes down as far as humanly possible for work absolutely fascinates me and simultaneously terrifies me. So without further ado, guys, let's give Ryan Palmer the floor. Well, not the floor, because I'm gonna read Ryan's stories. So he says, true deep sea diver horror stories. Just to let you know, some are personal experiences, some are friends / co-workers' stories. A quick note, an umbilical is a group of cables containing gas to breath, hot water, communication to surface and lighting. It will be used to climb back to surface when work is done and used as a navigation system to the diver. Story number 1, a personal story of Ryan's. This story takes place in 2014 and was one of my first jobs as a commercial diver for a company in the Shetland Islands. I was working on a job around 3 miles offshore at a maximum depth of 51 meters on a fish farm. The visibility was almost zero and all you can see is pitch black below you. Normally on fish farm work we would dive using the professional scuba gear. However, on this job we used surface supplied equipment due to the depth and time needed to repair and clean the fish farms. To be honest, I was out at the visibility was almost zero and all you can see is pitch black below you. But anyway, Ryan's hard as nails, we'll carry on. I was the only diver on shift this one night at around 11 PM and had only just gotten into the water. Usually, I'm totally comfortable working in the darkness and have learnt to work using touch. However, tonight felt different. The water was emptier and no life was around me. It felt colder too. Around 2 out of the 4 hours into my shift I started to feel uneasy in the water and felt like I was being watched by something. I asked my supervisor to come up and he accepted my request. I got the feeling you get when you turn the lights off and run upstairs. I started to climb the umbilical to the surface. Currently I was at around 20 meters from the surface, when suddenly in my peripheral vision I see in the dark an at least 10-foot long object gliding in the distance. The panic set in and my heart was pounding through my chest. All of a sudden, a long arm / tentacle / long object wrapped itself around my waist and started pulling me back down to sea level. I tried to fight it hard and my adrenaline allowed me to free myself, but when I turned around to see what was there, nothing. Pitch black darkness, no movement, no bubbles of terror in the distance. It's like nothing was even there. I climbed safely to surface and people asked me why I went back down. I said I was pulled down and then I was shown my camera. There was nothing there. So there we go, that's the first story from Ryan. Was something there? Was he imagining it? But then how was he pulled down? I have to say, if this happened to me as a deep sea diver, I have heard the money is quite good, but I'm not getting back in the ocean. In fact, I'm not even going to get in a swimming pool after that. Okay, story number 2 takes place from the perspective of a co-worker. They were working in the Gulf of Mexico on an oil rig around 150 miles offshore. These guys are saturation divers, meaning they spend up to 28 days in a saturated tank which is pressurized to depth, meaning their body is tricked into thinking it is 50+ meters deep at all times when really they are on the surface. This is the premier ship of diving and it takes around 10 years experience if you are lucky to get into this type of diving. So these are experienced guys, clearly. My friend, let's call him Mike, was 10 days into SAT, which is saturation diving, and was working on oil lines and manifolds, replacing and repairing parts. Around 3 hours into working in the water, he began welding on one of the oil pipes down there. This makes an immense amount of light and sound which anything can hear and sense from miles and miles away. This is when the bellman, who is the diving bell making sure the divers are safe in the water, got a notification from the surface suggesting all divers immediately get out of the water right now. Both divers panicked and headed straight back to the diving bell. But weirdly, that is when he saw in the distance a yellow reflection from a diving helmet. Both divers were together and no one else was in the water. There was no way that anyone else was in the water without them being told. The yellow eventually faded and they carried on climbing to the bell. There it was again, the same yellow reflection of a diver's hat. I asked my buddy if he saw it too, and he said that there was nothing there. Around 2 minutes before reaching the bell, the awful blood-curdling scream of my buddy echoed through the ocean floor. He said a diver grabbed him, begging for help, and then swam off screaming. I knew it, there is someone here with us, but there was no other diver in the water at the time. Eventually we got to the bell and explained everything in a panic. It was then we were told someone lost their life 2 years ago on the same job, same location and same depth as us. He was never recovered as the body was never found. My friend quit saturation diving for good that day. Holy shit. So was that the ghost of the diver that died 2 years previous? You've got to think, this job, saturation diving, takes 10 years of experience just to get into if you're lucky enough to be selected. And this man's friend, after going through that ordeal and seeing what he believed he saw and his colleagues saw as well, quit that job on the day. That is some scary stuff. And finally, story 3 is personal again to Ryan Palmer. This story takes place in 2017 when working in the murky waters of Kent. We were contracted for 3 weeks to repair, maintain and install new wind turbines for a renewable energy company. They reach a maximum depth of 48 meters deep. Once again, surface supplied equipment was also used to complete this job. I was put on the night shift, again 7 PM till 7 AM. 3 hours in the water, 9 hours helping on deck and tending to other divers. Therefore, water is pitch black and the light from my helmet makes it worse. Almost like a flashlight in smoke. At 10 PM I was able to hop in the water and begin working on the turbines. Around 1 hour into my shift, I noticed the air supply to my helmet feel very tight and found myself struggling to find my breath, which was odd. I swam my umbilical and found everything was fine. No knots, no breaks or leaks. I asked above what was happening and everything was normal. My supervisor at the time was around 55 years old and had a condition called cataplexy and very often needed to be taken back for medical care. Therefore, he was on the verge of retiring and was unable to dive due to his condition. Around 20 minutes later, it was really becoming a problem. I couldn't suck down the air I needed. I climbed my umbilical one more time. There it was. A metal rod sticking up from the sea floor had entangled my umbilical, and the further I got, the more it was being stretched, and because I could not untangle it enough, the strand of cable was coming undone. I was panicking trying to undo this knot that it was so tight I could not even move it. I was screaming to my supervisor who was not replying, so I assumed the comms were not working at the time as well. I had to make a life or death decision. I cut my umbilical cable, switched to my bailout bottle and tried my best to get to the surface safely. I got to the surface and everyone was normal. I said, what the fuck is going on? And they all were so confused and dragged me out and checked my health. I was good, but when we went into the supervisor's room, he had had a bad stroke and was passed out on the floor. We rushed him via helicopter to the hospital and he survived the stroke but could not talk after this. I was just moments away from death and no one had any idea, and I would have been long gone before anyone could have attempted to rescue me. Well, Ryan, let me just say I'm so glad that you made it out that day, and also thank you so much for this email, because what you've sent me here is excellent. It's beautifully written. I love that it's memoirs from deep sea divers and yourself. I love that you've got the spooky tentacle. Was it a giant squid or a giant octopus? The Kraken, hell, even Cthulhu himself. Who knows? You've got a ghost story in there, and you've got a tragedy in there where you nearly died. Unbelievable stuff. Thank you so much, guys. If in the chat we could say thank you, Ryan Palmer, for this episode, because it wouldn't have been possible without him. I thoroughly enjoyed this. You tapped into one of my fears as well, which gives this a bit of an edge. Guys, did you enjoy the stories? Which one was your favourite story? 1, 2 or 3? Rank them in order as well. That would be amazing. If you like this kind of content, guys, if you want to get involved in the content, then please, like I said, dudeyrhino@gmail.com. Email me in your scary stories. Please, if you could, make them lengthy, because I like to really delve into the stories. Get all the details in there, get the juice in there. This is a wonderful example of that. So once again, thank you, Ryan Palmer, or Spicy Gamer is always in the Twitch streams, which I appreciate as well. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. What did you think of these horror stories of the deeps, the deep sea divers? They are very, very brave people in my eyes. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much. If you want to support me, as always, Patreon is the way. Go down below to do that. I stream on twitch.tv http://Dudey Rhino. I also work closely with these guys, HoboJack. They're amazing guys. Go check them out, hobojack.co.uk. And also, guys, if you fancy some US Netflix, are you bored of your Netflix yet? Go grab ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN.com/Dudey. Get yourself some US Netflix and also protect all your data, your passwords and all that good stuff. It's just ExpressVPN is the best VPN out there, so go grab it. The link for that is down below. All the links are down below, guys. I'll be back very soon with another video just for you guys. If you enjoy it, like, share and subscribe. Sweet one, geese.